You know what most architects and builders do when you first meet them? They ask you what style you like, show you their portfolio, ask you how many square feet you need, maybe sketch something on a napkin. And I get it. That's exciting. It's fun. I don't do that, at least not right away. And there's a reason why. Look, if you're thinking about a custom home or a major remodel, you're probably excited. You've been looking at ideas, you've got a vision, but underneath that, there's this anxiety. Can we actually afford this? What if we get halfway through and the city says no? What if we design something beautiful that costs twice what we thought? And that fear, totally normal. And it's exactly why I created the Clarity First framework. Here's what used to happen, and honestly, what still happens with too many architects. You meet, they design something, produce these beautiful drawings, and then you find out what it actually costs, or that your property has issues, or that permitting is going to be a nightmare. And now you've spent months falling in love with a design that might not even be buildable or affordable. I've watched that happen too many times. Clients get blindsided, contractors coming back with wildly different bids, so I flipped it. Instead of design first, we do clarity first. Let me walk you through the 6 phases. Phase 1, feasibility and lifestyle commission. This is where we answer 3 questions before we draw anything. First, can we build it? Not theoretically, can we actually build on your specific site? I'm talking about the real stuff. There's zoning, setbacks, critical areas, wetlands, shoreline restrictions, tribal archaeological zones, utility access. You get it. Like all this stuff overlaps and can get complex fast. In places like Gig Harbor and Fox Island, where I work mostly, this stuff is complex. You can't just assume. Second question, should we build here and how? Just because a lot is legal doesn't mean it's good. We're looking at the sun angles, wind, where the water views actually are, how we orient the house so we get natural light but we aren't getting blasted by the weather. And the third question, how do you actually live? This is where we get into your daily life. How do you entertain? Do you have a big extended family? Do you cook together? Or does one person need the kitchen to themselves? Do you have pets? What you get at the end of this phase is called a feasibility roadmap. It's basically your go, no-go document. It tells you what's possible on your land before you spent money on design or committed to anything you can't back out of. Phase 2, holistic design and interior integration. Okay, now we design. But here's the difference. We're not just designing the shell and leaving the rest to you to figure out. We're designing architecture and interiors at the same time. Millwork, lighting, built-ins, everything integrated from the beginning. And we build 3D models so you can actually walk through the space virtually. Not just for the cool factor, though it is pretty cool, but because it's a lot easier to change something on pixels instead of lumber. Phase 3, pre-construction cost audit. This is the phase that saves people the most money and heartache. We bring in a builder to the table before the technical drawings are finished. We show them the preliminary design and say, what is it actually going to cost in a price range? And if we're over budget, which happens, we adjust on paper, we value engineer, we make trade-offs. We move forward with a design that's beautiful and buildable and actually fits your budget. No surprises. Phase 4, technical documentation. This is where we get into the details. And I mean, we detail everything. We're producing comprehensive drawings and specifications that define every fixture, every finish, every assembly, down to the doorstop is what I like to call it. Why? Because ambiguity is expensive. When things are unclear, that's when contractors are left to make assumptions. That's when you get change orders. That's where you get delays. That's when costs balloon. Clear documentation is your defense against scope creep. If you don't know about scope creep, look it up. Phase 5, regulatory strategy and approvals. Permitting in the Puget Sound isn't a rubber stamp. There's shoreline master programs, critical area designations, health department reviews. We don't just submit drawings and hope for the best. It's proactive. We manage the process. We answer the examiner's questions directly. We advocate for the design because nobody knows it better. The goal is to keep the project moving forward through approvals efficiently without getting stuck in bureaucracy. Phase 6, construction observation. This is where too many architects disappear and they hand off plans and say good luck, especially if you don't hire a real architect, but one of these designers. It's not how I work. I stay engaged during construction, answering RFIs, those are requests for information from the builder, reviewing pay applications, making sure the builder is interpreting the plans correctly. I'm your eyes on the site so you can go and do what you need to do in your job, in your life. I'm making sure that what gets built is what we've designed and what you've paid for. So by the time you break ground, you're not anxious anymore. You know what you're building, you know what it costs, you know it's been approved, you know it's going to work for how you actually live. And when issues come up during construction, because they always do, they're small course corrections, not panic moments, because we did the hard thinking up front. I had a client, a real estate developer in Tacoma, trying to figure out what to do with a property. Rent it, sell it, convert it. We did the feasibility work and found an option he didn't even know was possible. Maximized his return. Another client in Manhattan, Mark, said working with me through their co-op board approvals and gut renovation was a delight. His words. And if you ever dealt with a New York co-op board and building department, you know that's saying something. That's what happens when you start with clarity instead of assumptions. So if you're thinking about a custom home or a major remodel and you're feeling paralyzed by all the unknowns, download the feasibility checklist in the description. It walks you through the questions you should be asking before you design anything. And if you want to talk through your specific situation, I do free strategy calls. There's no pressure, just clarity with what you're dealing with. You don't need to make expensive mistakes. You don't need to learn the hard way. Start with clarity and design with confidence. I'm Andrew. Thanks for watching.